70-740 Lab 1, Configuring Windows Server 2016. In this lab, we'll be working with two of our servers. We'll be working with our LUN-DC1 domain controller, and we'll be working with our LUN-SVR3 member server. Exercise 1.1. In this exercise, you'll configure Windows Server 2016 using the Windows Server 2016 settings as well as control panel. When you click the settings option, you launch the settings application that is based on the modern UI interface to access common settings. In previous versions of Windows, the control panel was the primary graphical utility to configure the Windows environment and hardware devices. So I'm going to begin by accessing the console on our domain controller, simply to verify that we've got proper operation. We click the Control-Alt-Delete button at the very top of our screen. We use our password PA11WORD and we log into that. I can see that it's up and ready to go. I'm going to click on my LUN SVR3 and I'm going to do the same. We're going to log in and get verification that it is up and operational. And looks like it is up. I'm going to go ahead and remove this control panel that was from a previous exercise, and we can see that we're in good shape. So exercise 1.1 starts out with us saying to click the start button and go to settings. Well, that's this gear right here. This is settings. And in settings, we're going to click on personalization. In personalization, we're going to click on start. We're going to scroll down until we see choose which folders appear on start. And we can see what options are set for what particular folders appear on start. So let's go ahead and let's click our start button. And step 6 says look to see whether documents and downloads are listed. Well, all I see is power, settings, and my user account. That's the only thing listed here. I don't see documents and downloads anywhere. So we'll click Start again to close that start page. We're going to select Documents and we're going to select Downloads. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that Start button once more. We've got more options. There's our access to get to our Downloads folder and access to get to our documents. That was easy. We're going to click the Start button again, minimize it, and we're going to click back twice, and the back button is this arrow pointing to the left. So we click once and click twice, and we're going to select time and language. Note that the date and time can't be changed. It's grayed out. So our first question is, why can't you change the date and time? Well, take a look at the red prompt at the top of their settings screen. What does it say? Some settings are managed by your organization. So our answer to question 1 is because some settings are managed by your organization. Let's go ahead and close the settings window once you've answered question number 1. And we're going to right click the start button and we're going to select the control panel. We want to verify that we are showing category option, and we are. And we're going to select System and Security, and then we're going to click on System. So here's our next question. How much memory is installed? How much RAM does your system have? Well, we can see it right there in the middle of the screen. This excellent performing Windows server is working with only 2 gigabytes of installed RAM. So your answer to question 2 is 2 gigabytes. Let's go ahead and we're going to click on Control Panel Home. And we're going to go down and look under Hardware and let's see View Devices and Printers. Question number 3. How many printers are installed? Well, I see 2 print devices. So your answer for question number 3 is 2. Or if you want to be more literal, 2 print devices. Once you've answered question number 3, go ahead and click on Control Panel right there in the middle top. And under Clock Language and Region, select Set Date and Time. Now, which time zone is the computer using? Well, I can see it right there. We're in UTC -5, which is Eastern Time. So that's your answer for question number 4. In our particular case, our answer is Eastern Time. If we were performing this lab in the Central Time Zone or the Pacific Time Zone, obviously corresponding time zones. Question number 4, Eastern Time. Question number 5, is the date and time correct? Well, no, it is not. Why isn't it? Because of the virtual environment we're in. Our domain controller is receiving its time from the virtual infrastructure that we're being hosted in. So don't worry about the fact that we're off by 3 days and it shows PM instead of AM. Don't sweat that. But we do want to answer our time, and in our case, is the date and time correct? Our answer to question 5 will be no. If you've answered question 5, go ahead and click the Change Date and Time button. So go ahead, remember that it showed us being the 19th, and let's click on tomorrow's date. What day is tomorrow? Well, if it is the 19th, where our virtual servers reside, tomorrow would be the 20th. So select the 20th. And then click OK. Now we're going to take our first screenshot. Go ahead, and if you'd like, I recommend using the snipping tool. And you can see I already did take one screenshot. I'm going to take a new one. And it is, let's see if it's set. It is set for window. So I'm going to say new, and I will just click on my screen, and there it pops up. I'll go ahead and minimize my snipping tool, and I'm going to paste that into my worksheet. Okay, got that pasted into your worksheet? Okay, there's your first screenshot. Remember this exercise where I showed everyone how to do that. For your first lab or two, if you have any problems, please contact me and I will work with you to make sure that you're familiar with how to do that. Now that you've gotten your first screenshot in there, let's go ahead and click that Change Date and Time button again, because if we leave this computer off by a day, it's going to have communication problems with our domain controller. We're going to select back on the 19th, go back to the 19th, and click OK. Now, whatever the date is on your computer when you do this exercise, understand if you do this exercise on the 28th or on the 12th, whatever it might be, you're simply going to choose the next day that's being displayed, and then we're going to revert back to the previous day. And then we're going to click OK. And then we're going to click OK one more time, and that puts us back to where we were at when we started. Exercise 1.1 is done. Just that easily, we are done. Now, we're still on LUN-SVR3. So what we wanted to do is we're going to go back into, well, our steps say right-click the Start button and go to Control Panel, but we're already there. We're 2 steps ahead. Select the Network and Internet, and then Network and Sharing Center. Here we can see our basic sharing center that we've been using for many years now, actually. On your left-hand column, select Change Adapter Settings. This takes us to our network connections. Go ahead and double-click your private connection, or if you didn't rename it private, it would say Ethernet. Go ahead and double-click that. We can see our status. Select Properties, and then if you see it, if not, scroll down to where you see Internet Protocol version 4, IPv4, and double-click that. Question number 6. What is the current IP address configuration for your Ethernet connection? Well, it should be the same as what you see on the screen here. Go ahead and place that information into question number 6, and you will have answered question 6. Once you've answered question 6, we're going to change this. We're going to say obtain an IP address automatically. And we're also going to say obtain DNS server address automatically. Once you've done that, click OK. Click OK one more time. Let it obtain that IP address from our DHCP server. Takes just a few moments. And we're going to go ahead and we're also going to close our status screen. Now, go ahead and click the Start button and simply type CMD. Might take just a moment or two, but we should get, yes, there it is, a link for command prompt. You can either click on command prompt or simply press enter. We're going to enter the ipconfig command. And it gives us our basic information. Now, remember, we don't have a gateway, do we? We don't have a gateway. So let's answer question number 7. What is the current IP address configuration for our Ethernet connection? Well, put your IP address in, put your subnet mask in, and of course, in our case, our default gateway will be empty. If you've answered question number 7, let's go ahead and take a more detailed look. We want to type in ipconfig /all and press enter. Question number 8. How do you know that this address for your Ethernet adapter was assigned by a DHCP server? There's 2 parts to this answer. There's 2 things on your screen that tell you that you got an address from a DHCP server. The first one's obvious. It's the 4th one down. DHCP enabled? Yes. So there's the first half of your answer. DHCP enabled : yes. But how else? Well, if we look further down that list, we can see the DHCP server that we received that IP address from. So the second half of our answer is DHCP server : 172.16.0.10. We've answered question number 8. Those are the 2 ways to verify that you did get an IP address from a DHCP server. Okay, now the next question takes a little bit more thought, a little bit more understanding of our network. Question number 9 is, the default gateway could be assigned to any local IP address. Which address range could be assigned to the default gateway to indicate a local router? Well, look at our subnet mask. We're on a Class B network. What is the range of IP addresses that are valid for our Class B network? Well, what's our network ID? Our network ID is 172.16. What's the host portion? .0. Well, our IP address is .160. But what's the first address that's available there? The first address that's available, that's usable, is 172.16.0.1. What is the last IP address that we could use? Well, we know it's 172.16, right? Right. What's the last range, last IP that's available in a Class B? 255.254. So on a Class B network, any one of those addresses could be a valid address for our default gateway. So there's your answer. Which address range could be assigned to the default gateway to indicate a local router? It could be any address from 172.16.0.1 through 172.16.255.254. Moving on. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to exit out of our command prompt. And back in our networking and network and sharing center, we've already got our network connections up. First off, let's go ahead and close that window. What they would like us to do is they'd like us to click on the Ethernet adapter. Now, they want us to click on Properties, and then go back into IPv4. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to reset this server, because servers like static IPs, we're going to reset it to have a static IP address. So go ahead and select use this IP address. And you're going to type in 172.16.0.23. We're going to hit tab. It says, hey, are you on a Class B network? Yes, we are. We can just go ahead and hit tab. We're not going to put a default gateway in, so we can hit tab again, and we can hit tab another time. Let's type in our DNS server, 172.16.0.10. Remember, it was .10. That's our domain controller. It's also our DNS server. Go ahead and click OK, and then click OK once more, and then click Close. Let's go back over and open up Command Prompt again. We're going to type in our IP config once more, and there we have our settings restored. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this and paste it into step number 24. Okay, if you've got that screenshot pasted in, you're done with exercise 1.2. Let's work on IPv6 a little bit. Leave your command prompt open for now. And let's go back over to our network and sharing center. We're right here. We're going to click on our private or Ethernet connection right here on the upper right, and then click on the details button. Let's answer the following question. What is the link local IPv6 address? Do you see it? Yes, it's right there. Now, your address, in all likelihood, is going to be different. It better be different, right? Every IP address needs to be unique. At least in our network, they should all be handed out differently. Now, keep in mind, we're in a virtual infrastructure, so it is possible that you could get handed the same IP address as I am because we're on different networks. But regardless, if you've got a link local IPv6 address, it's to start with FE80. All right? So, what is the link local IPv address? Type in to question number 11 the link local IPv address that you see on your screen that starts with FE80. Type in the complete answer. Once you've got that done, let's go ahead and close that window, and we're going to click on Properties. This time, instead of IPv4, we're going to double click on IPv6. In our IPv6 window, we're going to select use the following IP address. And you're going to type this IP address in, FE80 :0 AC4A AA04 713A 0 0 CE2B. Okay, let's just verify that we typed it in correctly. FE80 :0 AC4A AA04 713A 0 0 CE2B. I did. Press the tab button, and it says, hey, 64-bit prefix length? That's correct. If you've got 64-bit in for your subnet prefix length, go ahead and click OK. And then click OK once more and click Close. Now, what you're going to do is we're going to go back over to our command prompt, and we want to rerun ipconfig. Do we have to retype it? No, we can just press the up arrow one time and press enter. Now, yeah, we still have that other one listed there, but we can see the link local address that we just manually assigned listed as well. Go ahead and take a screenshot and paste that into step number 11. If you've done that, you've completed that exercise. Okay, if you've got your screenshot in there, let's go ahead and close our command prompt. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to close the Network and Sharing Center. Our exercises are done, but let's complete the lab challenge. Now, we won't do the lab challenge in each and every one of our labs, but we will in this one. So our lab challenge today is using server management and computer management. In this exercise, we're going to use Server Manager and Computer Management to configure your computer. You will use Computer Management to create a local user, and then you'll use Server Manager to access various tools. Computer Management manages local or remote computers by using a single consolidated desktop tool. Using computer management, you can perform many tasks, such as monitoring system events, configuring hard disks, managing system performance, managing users and groups, and managing shared folders. Server Manager allows you to install, configure, and manage Windows Server 2016 server roles and features. So let's go ahead and we're going to right-click on our Start button, and we're going to select Computer Management. Now it's going to take just a moment for it to appear. And there it is. We're going to go ahead and we're going to expand. We're going to click on that caret. You know, whenever you hear me talking about expanding a node, it's clicking on that little arrow, the caret. We're going to right click on users and select new user. Select being a left click. For the username will be user1, no spaces. For the full name, there will be a space. User, a space, and the number 1. Let's assign the default password of capital PA11WORD. We'll confirm that, make sure we typed it correctly, and click Create. And click Close. And there is our user 1. Now let's go ahead and we're going to select Event Viewer. And we'll expand it as well. And then we're going to expand the Windows logs, and then we're going to select System. Here is our system logs. Now, you may or may not see any warnings or error. Let's scroll down and see if we can find any. Well, this seems to be, oh, there's an error. So, what is that error related to? Distributed COM, and it's event ID 10016. Has something to do with permission settings that do not grant local activation. So I would want to note that as my answer for question number 12. Go ahead and select the application node. We're going to view the application log. Well, we can see there's a couple errors in here. There's errors, or there's some informational ones, more errors, and we can see that this error, even though it's still coming from the security-SPP, has a different event ID than this one. So this one is local, is the license activation failed. This one is activation of end user license failed. And this one is license acquisition failure details. All different events. Let's go ahead and select the Device Manager node. We can see the installed devices on this system. We're doing all this from one window. Let's go ahead and expand services and applications. Go ahead and select services. We can see which services are running, which ones are stopped, not running, which ones are set for manual, maybe a triggered start, might be disabled, automatic, maybe automatic with a delayed start. We could restart services or start services from this window as well. A one-stop shop for managing your computer. Understand, remember in the introduction to the lab challenge, they said the local or remote computers? See, it says computer management local here at the top left. If I right click on that, I have the option to connect to another computer. If I have the rights to manage other computers, I could type that computer name in here. If it's online, I would be able to access the computer management interface for that other system. For now, we'll just go ahead and we'll click cancel. And we can now close our computer management window. Let's take a look at Server Manager. In our Server Manager, on our left-hand column, let's select Local Server. our first question, or rather, our question number 13 is, which domain is this system a member of? Well, it's right there, adatum.com. So your answer to question 13 is adatum.com. Looking again in our properties section, under processors, question number 14, which processor is used in the system? Well, depending on the platform that you would be on, it might be different, but we're all using the ACE IT lab infrastructure. So we should all see this same processor, the Intel Xenon E312XX Sandy Bridge. So that is your answer for question 14. Now let's take a look at some of the tools that we can access. If we click on Tools, again we can access computer management. The same management window. Go ahead and close that. Let's go back to Tools. We can view the event viewer. We could do this full screen so that we're not restricted by that smaller event log within our computer management. Go ahead, take a screenshot showing me your browser interface. And remember, I want the entire screenshot because it's important that I see your name in the upper right-hand corner. So get that screenshot, paste that into step number 20. If you've gotten your screenshot, go ahead and close event log, and you are done. We can log off of our server. We're going to sign out, and Lab 1 is completed. Please be sure to save any changes to your workbook and upload your Lab 1 worksheet to the Dropbox. Thank you.